What's up, everybody? We are back with another episode of parentheses.
Parenthesis. Just one parenthesis? Yeah.
I forgot what it was called.
Yeah. You want to take it again?
No, it's fine.
Let's just go. Cool. Yeah, we're back. It's been like a month or two.
Yeah.
It's been a little while. Yeah.
Yeah, probably closer to 2.
Yeah.
'Cause
Well, last time we recorded, we hadn't moved.
Yeah.
And now we've moved.
That's Siege in the background, taking a drink of water.
Mm-hmm. We've got our nice podcast studio here with the dogs eating loudly. Yeah.
Well, Siege is desperately getting the last crumbs that Rosie left him.
Yeah. Semester is well underway. Oh, man.
Yeah. I guess we're starting week 5?
No. Yeah, 5.
Okay.
This will start week 5.
Eesh.
Yeah. So almost a third of the way through.
Sounds terrible.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, as soon as it starts to feel like, oh, there's like a real fraction you can put to it,
Yeah.
this one is like, it's no good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can really start to talk about the point of this podcast in the first place, which was parenting and being a grad student at the same time.
Yeah.
Not yet, though, because Arlo is still not here.
Nope.
We're still waiting on baby. Got a few more weeks
Yeah.
until the due date, but
close enough to where it could technically happen any day.
yeah.
Except for, all these people telling me that the first kid stays in long.
Mm-hmm.
But
Everything's been so regular, I feel like he's going to come right on time. It'll be like 10:15 a.m. on the due date, and you'll hear him, or you'll just feel him knocking, and
yeah.
labor will start.
Yeah, in so many other ways, having a sort of deadline or a date that you're looking forward to is exciting and feels good, but now that I'm really uncomfortable, I'm just like, that is so far away.
Yeah.
And it's not comforting that he might stay in past that due date. So,
Right.
I mean, he could be very, like you're thinking, things have been so regular that maybe he comes right on his due date.
Mm-hmm.
Or he just stays in for like an extra week
Oh, man.
and is like just nice and cozy and doesn't want to come out.
Doesn't want to join us out here in the world.
I think that if we pass the due date, I will want to do some things to try to induce labor.
Go for a jog.
Like go for a run or a bike ride or
Yeah.
do something to try to get things to move.
Yeah.
But I don't know how it really works for people like me who have been really lucky to have, a very uncomplicated pregnancy. Like usually at some point you can get induced,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't even know if that would happen in my case because maybe he wouldn't stay, longer than like the 42 weeks. But
Yeah. It sounds like after 42 is when they start to be like, no, you really have to.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, the other thing about it, though, is the longer that he stays in, the bigger he's getting.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of like, yeah, I would rather you come out sooner than later because the longer he stays in here, he's just getting chunky and I'm going to have to birth a larger child.
Yeah.
So I think I'm like, oh, yeah, right now he's probably like, I don't know, 7 pounds or something. And that would be easier than like a 10-pound baby.
Yeah. We were both
Very
getting close to 10 pounds.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I hope he gets here soon.
Yeah.
I'm ready. We're,
Me too. Tomorrow is when he can come,
Yep.
according to me.
yeah.
Because I was wanting him to come out so that he would be a Libra.
Mm-hmm.
And today is the last day of Virgo season.
Yep.
So tomorrow is the first day of fall. Libra season starts.
Is tomorrow the first day of fall, too?
I believe it is.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, well, the fall semester is officially started.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah. All right, well,
Yeah.
let's talk about our fall semester. How's it been going for you so far?
It's good. I'm trying to write my dissertation. This week was the first week that I actually did any of that. I'm also teaching 2 classes right now, one of which has 160 students in it. And that one, even though I have TAs for it, it's a pain.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work, and I really appreciate all the work that the TAs do, but it's still a lot of work. And yeah, I'm just trying not to let that take up too much of my time. I'm also applying out for jobs, which takes a lot of time, but isn't hard really. Like the process isn't difficult. It's just a lot. It's monotonous, and trying to market yourself is unpleasant for a number of reasons.
I was going to tell you, actually, that I saw when I was on BC's site today to get their secretary's information. They have a deadline coming up November 1st for an assistant professor of the practice, which...
What is the practice?
So, or maybe it's just assistant professor of practice. I can't remember if it's the practice or just practice, but at Boston College they have 2 programs. One's called Pulse, and the other one I can't remember what it is, but basically they are... It's like they aren't looking for anyone with a specific AOS or combo of AOS AOCs.
Right.
It's just someone who will work on a 3-year renewable contract.
Okay.
Teaching these sorts of intro classes, but a part of these other programs, which essentially treat like philosophy as a way of life. So one thing I always liked about BC was that they had these other programs where it was like, oh yeah, I mean, philosophy is a way to live, or you can integrate this into the practical stuff that you do. And so like one thing that professors like this teach is a year-long course for undergrads called Philosophy of the Person.
Awesome.
So anyway, you should look into that.
Well, yeah.
Also, I love Massachusetts,
Yeah.
so I'd be really thrilled to
Teaching for Boston College would be great. Yeah.
move back to Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, I was just talking earlier with my therapist about how, I don't have any job market anxiety because it feels so far away from me.
Yeah.
And I don't really have any anxiety like on your behalf because I feel like we have plans for staying or going. So I'm kind of okay with whatever happens. But of course there are times when I'm like, well, I do hope we get to move somewhere cool if we're moving.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice to live somewhere closer to family, or somewhere that we've wanted to live for independent reasons. I don't have a ton of anxiety about the job market. I think partly because, I've kind of been through the adjunct ringer for a couple of years now, and I'm still finishing my dissertation, and it feels like, if the job market goes well for me and I end up in a place that I like, that's fantastic. But if it doesn't, I've sort of gotten over the feelings of like failure or like letting people down. I think it'll just be a luck of the draw, and hopefully I'm able to end up someplace that has people that are cool and good colleagues, and that I can be a good colleague. And I've always wanted to be, a big part of being in academia for me has been wanting to like commit myself completely to this work in some way. And it feels like, getting a job at least is the most, like permanent that could be, right?
Yeah.
And, I've already dealt with the feelings of impermanence over the last couple of years that I think a lot of people struggle with when they for the first time when they go on the market. So I'm lucky in that sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still tough.
Yeah.
Still not great. Yeah, I don't know. But other than that, I mean, the semester's been going well so far. I'm doing cool stuff with the experimental philosophy lab, and I've been meeting with John a lot, and added people to my committee who I'm sending stuff to, and so it's just been it's felt good so far. It's felt more like a semester where I have some control over what I'm working on, and I'm not being pulled in a million directions. But I know as soon as Arlo's here, I'm gonna not want to leave the house. And
yeah, I mean, you're gonna be pulled in one direction,
right.
and the pull's gonna be strong.
Yeah.
So, but also, and I, not just because of what we were talking about earlier today, but because a lot of people have told me this, barring him being a super colicky baby or having some other, medical issues, I think we're going to be exhausted, but it's going to be so repetitive that it's just going to be like change diapers, console, feed, try to play a little. And just keep doing it, over and over. And that, that's when it's easy. Yeah. When they don't, they don't have more demands than that.
Right.
Even, I didn't tell you about this. I can't remember who told me this the other day, but someone told me that, or maybe it was Erin in the department. Anyway, I think she said something like, yeah, that's when you can still go out. Like, you want to go out to eat? Go with your newborn baby, like, when they're sleeping. Like, give them a bottle and they're going to go to sleep. Because they will sleep anywhere.
Right. And
you can definitely eat a meal before they wake up. Or just pop in another bottle. It's when they start to become really demanding and develop more of a personality and are needy, is when it's like, oh yeah, you can't, then it's harder to go places, with like a 9 or 10 month old or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's naive of me, but I hope that Arlo is just going to want to do the things that we want to do. But if we take him with us, that it won't be harder to do, but I expect that it will be hard.
I mean, I've heard from so many, not so many other people, because I haven't talked to so many other people, but enough people in academia or who are busy people have said, take your baby everywhere with you, and that's how you get a chill baby.
Okay.
You want to go out to eat, take the baby. You need to, still ride the bus around town, take the baby. Whether that's in the stroller or baby wearing,
Right.
One of our colleagues was talking about how he would wear his daughter to the cafe to write his papers, or... So I think as long as we take up the challenge of taking him everywhere with us, I think that he will turn out okay with just going where we need him to go. I think it's when parents start to be like, okay, we have to control the environment, as much as possible. That means total silence. We're going to put a note outside on the door that says, please don't knock or ring the doorbell. It has to be totally dark everywhere they sleep. We have to replicate temperatures of bottles and rooms. And I think it might be that micromanaging of the kid's life that makes them, how could you avoid it? That makes them have all these weird preferences. And hopefully, first of all, as our listeners can tell, it's never going to be quiet here. So
wrestling happening
there is
constantly.
Zero that we can do about that.
It's also, I think to some degree, yeah, some of that is out of our hands as far as, his health and
Yeah.
that sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, as much as possible. The other thing, I mean, honestly, is that we don't really go too many places.
Yeah.
Like, we go to campus to work, and
Right.
we're here, but it's not like we don't have to travel a ton.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I hope that the way that we already are kind of, taking the bus to campus, and I'm staying in here and writing many days a week is, it'll just fit right in
Yeah.
to that lifestyle, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've been planning for so many months that it feels like, yeah, we're still just waiting for him to get here.
Yeah, I mean, not only have we been planning for, so one thing to say is, like, we found out I was pregnant, and it felt like last semester we didn't really have to do anything because it was so early that it was kind of like, yeah, you can only plan so much.
In the spring, we didn't tell anyone really.
Yeah, no, it really wasn't until like mid to late summer when we really started like buying things and being able to set things up. And but what makes it feel like such just a long time for me is that we talked so much about having a kid in the future, since 2017. And, back then it was just like a nice dream, and we picked up baby books at yard sales, but still was like, oh, one day we're gonna try to make that happen.
Yeah.
So then when it finally was real, it was like, oh, okay, but we're in the semester, we want to get through it. So it feels like this last trimester especially has been like, oh, okay, we're actually in preparation mode. And now I'm like a little over 2 weeks away from the due date. And I think we've prepared as much as we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't really done any training with the dogs.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think, the sorts of things that I've been thinking more about lately have just been things that are good grad school, like, advice type of things anyway. It's like, been doing meal planning to, like, have meals that are available for us when we're, like, right, mainly for you, right after you deliver. And I'm just gonna get these dogs.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Hey, guys, can you please stop it?
Unbelievable. Just a couple of goblins.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll make that episode art just a picture of them tearing at each other. Yeah, I mean, meal planning and prep and, trying to make sure that, like, we have extras of all the little things that might, be nice to have, and that, we're well stocked going into the delivery and stuff like that. So I think we're just...
No. Rosie.
Unbelievable. Rosie. All right, the dogs are here now.
Yeah.
Say hello.
Say something, Rosie.
Yeah, I mean, so is there anything that you feel like, going back to to the semester in the fall and being very pregnant, that you feel like, this is what it was good for me? Like, I mean, so our advisors have been really supportive. Not everyone in the program has been how should I put this? Like, exceptionlessly happy for us.
Yeah.
Right? Some people are just like, congratulations, that's so great. And then a lot of other people have been like, how are you going to handle this? Right?
Yeah.
But I don't know, do you feel like there are things for you worked to kind of tell people or to like re-enter grad school as a pregnant person?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that helped me the most at the start of the semester was, I mean, honestly, it was starting therapy, I think, a little bit before the semester, and having a therapist help me accept and understand that it's not my responsibility to make sure everyone else is comfortable with this situation.
Right.
Yeah. Because on the one hand, I'm just kind of like, yeah, you go to school and your goal is to finish that program that you are enrolled in, and big life things totally do affect your ability to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
For anyone. So on the one hand, you know, the sort of skeptical response, understandable. Yeah. I think there's a lot more to it in my case, given that I've had a rough time in grad school in the past.
Yeah.
And so it feels like, oh no, is this another one of these obstacles that's going to really trip her up? Like, basically make it impossible for her to do things. And I feel like, no, it isn't. Because this is, unlike my last experience, a positive life moment.
Yeah.
You know, this is something that we wanted and we're happy about and we're ready for.
Yeah.
And so absolutely it's going to impact, you know, both of our abilities to work, and we're going to have to readjust how we get things done. But yeah, I mean, the difference in my mind is like night and day.
Yeah.
This is going to be hard for totally different reasons.
Yeah.
I'm not, you know, having extreme depression and anxiety that's totally affecting my ability to show up or email someone or go write a paper or something. Yeah. So I guess, yeah, the biggest thing for me was just actually telling myself, even if it was hard to, you know, fully accept it or understand it. It was just, yeah, I don't have to make them comfortable with this situation.
Right.
It's not my job. Like, the power dynamics are not set up such that I need to go back and defend myself about this.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I was worried about the whole summer, is that I felt like I had to defend myself and, like, prepare an argument.
Yeah.
Because we're philosophers,
had
and
to come in
so
and justify,
I needed to have, you know, like a formally valid argument for how, you know, it's okay to be pregnant and okay to have a child and okay to have this child while I'm in school.
Yeah.
And then I think,
if baby, then graduate. Baby, therefore, yeah.
Graduate. Yeah. Yeah, so that was really helpful. And then the other thing that was helpful was, and that's part of this, is that I really tailored how I was telling people. So, I mean, I did a lot of, like, self-editing over the summer, where at first you and I were talking about it, and I remember wanting to send emails that did all the explaining, you know, right. I'm pregnant, but this is not gonna, you know, I'm gonna be able to do this, and blah, 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 blah. And then what I actually did was much more straightforward and just sort of like, I'm pregnant, now you know.
Yep.
See you soon.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's like, I'm an adult. I don't have to ask for permission to, you know, live my adult life.
Yeah.
And I don't need to explain it and justify it.
Yeah.
To them.
It almost feels like, in some ways, so I don't know what it's like for undergraduates who have children at all, but I feel like there's just an extension of the whole, you know, graduate students are students first or workers first, kind of like people who treat graduate students like they are still adolescents, essentially.
Yeah.
end up in this position of like, oh, you're having a kid, like, oh, you're getting married, like in graduate school, and it's like we're like in our 30s. Like, are you kidding me? But there's definitely, I think, an extension of this attitude towards graduate students that isn't justified even for undergrads, I would think, but is at least more understandable given that many of them are teenagers or something. But yeah, just like a kind of infantilizing that can happen, and it's certainly not your responsibility to like make people feel good about those judgments, right? Or like make them feel okay that like, oh, you thought about this and you're a responsible child, right?
Yeah.
It's like, come on, you don't have to justify yourself. Like, you're an adult.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing I think is that actually there have been so many positive responses or like straightforward, congratulations,
Right.
that it really does outweigh anything that has felt more critical.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess it felt scary to sort of make the announcement, and but then once I did it, it was fine.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, as far as like what I am doing as a pregnant person to sort of like manage everything.
Yeah, I mean, has anything changed?
Not really. I mean, I don't know, I feel good about the semester. Like, I'm enjoying my seminars. I enjoy going to the class that I TA for.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess maybe I rest more at home when I can. Like, I feel like I've taken more naps recently. Because I need them, not just because I like to nap. I don't actually do. I like to nap, but even if things haven't changed a bunch yet, I feel like I am starting to realize how particular I need to be about what I do in my free time, or anytime I'm not on campus, basically.
Right.
So I haven't had a problem, doing my readings or prepping for class. One really nice thing that has changed that we haven't talked about is just that living in this house makes it so much easier to get to campus.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we can get to campus so quickly that, it's totally possible to like do a sort of like 40-minute turnaround. Like, if you are done with something on campus, you need to come back home real quick and then get back. Like, actually that can happen, and that's just by the bus line like that. So that makes things feel really convenient, because I hate driving to campus and having to park and pay for the parking.
Yep. Now that UIUC stands for University of Illinois Under Construction, it's kind of difficult to do anything on campus because all of the roads near our building are upside down.
Yeah. I guess, like, this bus thing has made me feel so much better, just because it makes it feel like all of the transitions that we're about to learn that we need to do feel easier. So, like, if you're at home working and then I'm on campus and we need to switch or something, it doesn't, really negatively impact us that we have only one car, or that we don't drive to campus. It's like, oh, I feel like actually getting home and getting back to school are easy things to do. And so sort of takes one little thing that could be burdensome away. So that's, a relief.
Yeah. Public transportation is very important and supports families. So it's extremely good.
No one's ever offered me a seat on the bus yet. Side note.
Yeah.
But
I've given the stink eye to some undergrads before, but none of them have ever. We've not ever been in a position where you've had to stand if you.
Yeah, I mean,
it's never been that crowded.
So, yeah, I've read some of these like horror stories online where pregnant women will get onto the bus and there are no seats, and they will ask someone like, "Oh, can I sit down?" And a man will reply and say something really crappy like, "Oh, you want equality? Then stand."
Yeah.
I don't think
And then
that
everyone on the bus claps for the man. Was that the...
I've never read about clapping afterward.
Just a bus full of people going to the sexism convention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing that sucks about our bus line is just that it's a huge bus, and so the front is super air conditioned and the back isn't. Yeah. And I usually walk straight to the back because that's where I know there will be seats, and so I can just sit down. And it's not that hot back there. The thing that bugs me, actually, is that there are students sitting in the front of the bus where there are seats reserved for people in wheelchairs or, like, people with a disability.
Yeah.
I don't know if the sign really... I don't know if the sign includes, like, you know, the elderly, like, older people. But our bus signs do not include that those seats are for pregnant people.
Yeah.
So I don't actually feel entitled to sit there. I just... I'm fine with walking to the back and sitting there. But yeah, I mean, even in the back, sometimes it's full and, like... I also don't really mind standing unless it's toward the end of the day where I'm having a really hard time walking and standing now because at the end of the day I'm like having contractions and cramps and it's just a nightmare. But anyway, let's see, what else have I been doing? I don't think I've really done a ton of things differently this semester. I think honestly, the thing is that I had a great semester last semester.
Yeah.
And just felt good about starting this one.
Yeah.
And things are fine.
Right.
You know, I guess I've tried to... One thing I've had to do a little differently, which is not a consideration I've had in any other semester, is like presentations in class.
Mm-hmm.
You have to sign up for them. I chose to sign up earlier for some and later for others because there's like this black hole in the middle of the semester where I'm like, am I going to be here or not? I don't know.
October will probably not be a good month for you to stand up and give a presentation in the class.
Yeah, so that's been, I guess, a little different, but it's fine because I'm going to have presentations on things that I'm excited about presenting on, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Starting to think about term papers, and I will feel good if I've narrowed it down over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Not full on deciding, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're in week 5, I feel good about having a topic by the end of 8 or 9.
Yeah.
That seems like enough time. And
Yeah, I would think so. It's been a while since I've written a term paper, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I actually think... So I'm in a... What are my seminars? Decision theory and the other one, which is... I can't even remember the name of it, but
It's
like
early modern.
It's
right?
basically early modern, like Phil Mind.
Okay.
Just like what do people say? What did people say about consciousness? That's really what we're doing. I just can't remember the class title. Wow, those are some large lines showing up on the screen that...
Rosie, hey.
So the thing I'm talking about is...
That's not nice.
There are these little lines that show how loud a voice is, and the dog's barking is definitely louder than my talking.
Yep.
Anyway, I've been thinking that I will have an easier time with the decision theory paper than the early modern paper.
Wow. I just did such a good job teaching you logic that now all the formal stuff is like, you're just ready to go.
I mean, any chance I get, I let everyone know that I got through that class because you were such a good teacher.
I don't have to do that?
Well, I know I don't have to, but it's the truth.
Okay, well.
I mean, I I definitely needed, I don't think that, at the end of the day, I don't think that the instructor was like a terrible instructor. I think that I was, as always, really slow in that class and just needed a lot more like attention and needed to go at a much slower pace, and you being available to help me through that was really, really good. But also you were, a better teacher.
I'm gonna have to cut all these barks out.
Oh, my mom is gonna be like, I love it when we can hear the dogs.
Yeah, I mean, hearing, and they're freaking incredibly loud barks.
Yeah. Be a little bothersome if someone was listening with headphones on.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, yeah, that's all sounds good. I mean, it doesn't sound like it's been disruptive, which I'm glad. I mean, I would know, obviously.
Right, yeah.
Sure, if it had been. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it really does feel like... Excuse me.
Go lay down.
One of my professors the other day was like, "How are you? I'm kind of surprised that you're still around." Well, now he's just exhausted, so he needs a big drink of water. So professor was like, "I'm surprised you're still around and doing things." And, I was kind of like, yeah, but look, I mean, I didn't say this part. I was thinking this part later. I'm very lucky and privileged that my job is to come and sit in class. Because I don't think I would be able to do the old type of work I was doing right up until giving birth, like working in a daycare and chasing kids around, being on my feet most of the day.
Right.
But yeah, my job right now is to go sit in class.
Yeah.
Or sit in my office and wait for students. So that makes it easy to keep doing all the school stuff.
Yeah.
But also, like, being a grad student just means I've been tired for years.
Yeah.
And so it's not that different, honestly, from when I've been, the most tired ever. So it just kind of feels like, I mean, if anything preps you, I mean, I had heard so many women before, in the early part of the pregnancy, so many women are like, nothing prepares you for pregnancy tired. It's completely different. I beg to differ.
You feel like this is as tired as you were when you were doing your,
like prepping for exams, staying up all night to write papers. Like, there have been times when I've these dogs.
Jeez. It's high quality. Radio.
In the colder months, we could relocate into another room, but not with all this equipment. We can't.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Anyway, I do feel like I am obviously having physical feelings I've never had before, like physical pain and discomfort specific to the pregnancy, but the fatigue is very comparable to pulling all-nighters. So, yeah.
Well, should we leave it there? We got next time, possibly the next time we'll be recording, we'll have a baby.
Yeah.
Might be disrupted by cries as well as snarling and barking and gulping water.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna promise this, but it would be really cool if we could try to podcast, the day we come home from the hospital or the next day to get out our sort of first responses to, like,
delivery and
wow, I had this baby and now we're home with him.
Right.
And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, now that we're set up here and we've moved in, the semester started, and I think we're definitely going to get back into recording more, and we'll have more to say about the parent side of parenthesis and not just the thesis side.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, till next time.
Bye.
Bye.